Did you know that when chow mein first hit America's tables, it became so popular that noodle factories had to triple production just to keep shelves stocked? That's right. What began as a humble Chinese dish is now a global sensation, served everywhere from street corners to high-end restaurants. Step 1. Dough preparation. Inside a large, temperature-controlled mixing room, high-quality wheat flour, fresh eggs, salt, and alkaline water, also called kansui, are blended. This alkaline water is the secret behind chow mein's signature springy texture and golden color. Industrial mixers blend the ingredients until the dough is smooth and stretchy. But here's the tricky part. Temperature matters a lot. The dough has to stay under 75 degrees Fahrenheit. If it gets too warm, it turns sticky and hard to handle. Too cold, and it becomes stiff and breaks when shaped. So everything is kept closely monitored. Once the texture is perfect, the dough is gently rolled onto conveyor belts dusted with cornstarch. This light dusting stops it from sticking as it moves forward, ready for its big transformation into long, golden strands of chow mein noodles. Enjoying the video so far? Here's something to think. How long does it take to perfectly fry chow mein noodles to get their famous crispy texture? Drop your guess in the comments. We'll reveal the answer at the end. And don't forget to subscribe to Products Uncovered. Step 2. Rolling and cutting. After the dough is prepared, the next step is rolling and cutting it. The dough goes through a series of large steel rollers. These rollers slowly flatten the dough into smooth, even sheets, exactly 2 millimeters thick. That's the sweet spot. Thin enough to fry up quickly, but thick enough to hold on to sauces without getting soggy. And this isn't guesswork. Laser sensors constantly scan the dough as it moves through, making tiny adjustments to keep everything perfectly consistent. Once the dough is just right, it heads into the cutting zone. Sharp, fast spinning blades slice it into long, even strands. Each noodle is about 18 inches long, carefully shaped to cook evenly and give you that perfect bite. From there, the noodles are laid out on special drying racks that gently vibrate. This little shake ensures the noodles don't stick together or bunch up, keeping them separated and ready for the next step, which is the steaming process. Step 3. Partial steaming. Once the noodles are fully shaped, they head into a huge stainless steel steamer, basically a giant sauna for noodles. Inside, the temperature is set to exactly 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and the noodles steam for just 60 seconds. That quick blast of heat is enough to lightly cook them, giving them a bright yellow color and giving them that soft, chewy bite. But here's the trick. They're not cooked all the way through. Why stop halfway? Because these noodles are going to be fried later, and if they're already fully cooked, they'll either turn mushy or burn. Steaming just enough helps them hold their shape and gives them that perfect crispy yet chewy texture everyone loves in chow mein. Right after steaming, they're hit with blasts of cool air from giant fans. This rapid chill stops the cooking process instantly, helping the noodles keep their bounce and elasticity, so they're ready for the hot oil that's next. Step 4. Flash frying. Now comes the step that gives chow mein its signature crunch. Flash frying. The noodles are gently lowered into massive vats of hot vegetable oil, heated to exactly 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's where it gets interesting. They only fry for 45 seconds. That short burst is just enough to crisp up the outside, creating those tiny golden bubbles and cracks that make every bite so satisfying, while keeping the inside soft and chewy. But this part has to be timed perfectly. Just a few extra seconds in the oil, and the noodles can turn too dark, too hard, or even bitter. That's why the entire process is carefully monitored. As the noodles come out of the fryer, they pass under infrared sensors that check for the ideal color and texture. If something's off even a little, those noodles are pulled out immediately. Only the best, crunchiest, most perfectly golden strands move on to the next stage of cooling and drying. Step 5. Quick cooling and drying. Right after they leave the fryer, the noodles head straight into a high-speed cooling tunnel. Cold air, around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, blows over them to stop the cooking instantly and pull away any leftover oil. This quick cool down locks in that perfect crispy texture while making sure they don't turn greasy. Once cooled, the noodles move onto wide drying racks and pass through a warm drying chamber set at exactly 140 degrees Fahrenheit. They stay there for about 5 minutes, just enough time to remove any extra moisture that can make them soggy later. This step keeps the noodles fresh and crunchy for longer. So whether they're going to a restaurant or straight to your kitchen, they stay light, crispy, and perfect for soaking up any sauce you love. After they've been cooled and dried, the noodles go through a quick quality check to make sure they're just right. Step 6. Quality control. Every 30 minutes, a team of quality control experts steps in to make sure every batch of chow mein noodles meets the highest standards. They start by checking the color and appearance. Each noodle should have that perfect golden tone that signals it was cooked just right. Then comes the snap test. This test is pretty simple. They gently bend the noodles to see if they snap cleanly. If they do, it means the texture is just right. If it crumbles or bends too much, that's a red flag. And of course, taste matters too. Trained testers sample the noodles to make sure the flavor is spot on, just the right balance of crispiness and chew. If even one test falls short, the entire line pauses until the problem is fixed. It's a tight system, and it works. Fewer than 1 in 5,000 noodles ever fail inspection. That means every bite you take has passed a gold standard check. Step 7. Packaging. Finally, the perfectly crisped chow mein noodles make their way to the packaging line. Here, ultra-precise scales weigh out each portion to the exact gram, making sure every bag delivers the same satisfying experience. The noodles are then gently funneled into specially designed plastic bags, which are heat-sealed right away to lock out moisture and keep everything fresh. But before the bags are sealed, there's one last trick: a quick blast of nitrogen. This pushes out all the oxygen, which helps prevent staleness and keeps the noodles crunchy for months. Every bag gets stamped with a time code that tells exactly when and where it was made, including which fryer cooked it and what batch it came from. From there, the bags are packed into eco-friendly cardboard cartons, checked by scanners for accuracy, and stacked neatly by robotic arms. Once boxed and ready, they're moved into cold storage and shipped out, fresh, crispy, and ready to enjoy anywhere in the world. Now that we know how it's made, here's how it began. Chow mein started in northern China, and its name literally means fried noodles. It started centuries ago as a quick, flavorful street food made by vendors and local cooks who needed to feed workers on the go. Over open flames, they'd toss fresh egg noodles in hot woks with oil, soy sauce, vegetables, and bits of meat, creating a dish that was crispy, chewy, and deeply satisfying. As it spread across China, different regions added their own twist. In the south, Cantonese-style chow mein became popular for its thin, crunchy noodles. In the north, heartier versions were stir-fried with rich soy-based sauces. No matter the style, it was always comforting, fast, and full of flavor. When Chinese immigrants brought chow mein to America in the early 1900s, it quickly took off. People loved the bold textures and taste, and soon, factories were cranking out chow mein noodles just to keep up with the demand. And that's how simple wheat flour transforms into the golden, crunchy chow mein noodles you love. From the careful mixing and precise steaming to the quick flash fry and nitrogen seal, each step is designed to ensure that every noodle tastes like it just left the kitchen. Oh, and remember that question from the intro about how long the noodles are fried for that perfect texture? The answer is exactly 45 seconds. So next time you hear that satisfying crunch in your chow mein, you'll know it was no accident. It's an exact science. Want more food secrets uncovered? Hit subscribe, and we'll take you behind the scenes of your next favorite bite. Have you ever wondered how your favorite pack of instant ramen is made? You know, the one you reach for when you're craving something quick, delicious, and comforting? Well, today in another episode of Uncovering Products, we're going to take you on a journey into the fascinating world of ramen production. From simple ingredients to perfectly packaged noodles, There's a lot more that goes into making ramen than you might think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Products Uncovered for more fascinating content. Let's get started, shall we? Step 1. Ingredients preparation. The entire procedure begins with only a few basic materials. Let's begin with the most critical ingredient, wheat flour. This is what gives the noodles their structure and delicious chew. Factories employ high-quality wheat flour, which is essential for ensuring that the noodles are springy and firm when cooked. Then there's water, which of course is mixed with the flour to make the dough. Kansui is one of the distinctive ingredients in ramen. This is where ramen noodles vary from conventional pasta. It's an alkaline solution added to the dough that gives ramen noodles their unique firm, chewy texture and somewhat yellow color. Without kansui, you just have regular noodles. Step 2. Dough mixing and kneading. Once the ingredients are all together, they're mixed in huge industrial machines. This mixing is super important because it helps develop the gluten in the flour, which makes the dough stretchy and elastic. After the dough has been thoroughly mixed, it's allowed to rest for a while. Just like when you make bread dough at home, it needs a little time to settle and let the gluten develop. This step ensures that the noodles have the perfect texture when they're finally cooked. After the resting period, the dough is ready for the next step, where it really starts to take shape. Step 3. Dough flattening. Now for the fun part, flattening the dough. This is where the dough begins to turn into the familiar noodles we all know. Picture this. When the dough is rested, it is placed in these massive machines that roll it into thin sheets. However, they do not stop with just one pass. The machines press the dough repeatedly, each time making it somewhat thinner and more flawless. It's similar to rolling out pizza dough at home, but on a much larger scale. Factories repeat this process several times to ensure that the thickness is perfect. Noodles should not be overly thick, otherwise they will be heavy and difficult to eat. However, if they are too thin, they will overcook and become mush as soon as they come into contact with hot water. This step of the procedure is all about precision. The machines must balance that right thickness so that when you boil your ramen at home, the noodles have that optimum chewiness we all enjoy. Not too soft or too firm. It's like Goldilocks, but with noodles. They have to be just right. Step 4. Noodle cutting. The true magic begins when the dough is flattened. At this point, the dough resembles a blank canvas, waiting to be converted into the beloved ramen noodles. The dough is fed into these amazing machines, which neatly cut into thin strands of noodles. Now comes the fun part. Depending on the type of ramen, the noodles can be straight or wavy. The machines are quite precise. They do not simply cut the noodles, they slice them into absolutely even strands. Every noodle is the same breadth, as if they were tiny identical twins. This level of precision is crucial. Why? Because while cooking ramen, you want all of the noodles to cook and have the same texture. If some were thicker and some were thinner, you'd have some noodles that are still too firm, while others would get mushy. And no one wants that, right? Thanks to these precision cutting machines, each noodle is manufactured precisely, ensuring that when you toss it into boiling water, it cooks uniformly and has that perfect slurp-worthy consistency. It's a minor touch, yet it makes a significant difference in the finished product. Step 5. Steaming the noodles. Now that the noodles have been cut, they go through a steaming process. This step is really important because it partially cooks the noodles. Steaming helps lock in the texture of the noodles, making sure they stay firm and don't turn into a mushy mess when you boil them at home. The steam also gives the noodles a nice bounce, so that they have the perfect bite when you finally dig into your bowl of ramen. Step 6. Dehydration or frying. This is the point at which things become captivating. Depending on the type of ramen being produced, the noodles are either fried or air-dried after steaming. If you've ever noticed how crispy the noodles are when you take them out of the package, it's because they've been fried. Frying removes all moisture from the noodles, resulting in a much longer shelf life. When you add hot water, it cooks them really rapidly. That's why instant ramen is so quick to prepare. The fried noodles only need to be rehydrated before they're ready to be eaten. Not all ramen noodles are fried, however. Some are dried by air instead. This is a healthier option because it eliminates the need for oil. Hot air is used in factories to dehydrate noodles, giving them a lengthy shelf life while removing the additional fat. Both methods, frying and air drying, ensure that the noodles endure a long time without rotting and can be cooked in a matter of minutes when ready to eat. Step 7. Flavor packets preparation. Now, we can't talk about ramen without mentioning the little seasoning packets. You know, the ones that add all of that lovely flavor to your broth. Depending on the flavor of the ramen, the manufacturer prepares a mixture of spices, dehydrated veggies, and in some cases, soy sauce or meat extracts. It's incredible how much flavor they can fit into such a small package. Once the seasoning has been prepared, it is separated into individual packets, each matched to the type of ramen. Whether it's a deep miso broth, a light soy sauce flavor, or something spicy, these packets ensure that your bowl of ramen is flavorful. Step 8. Packaging. Now that the noodles and flavor packets have been prepared, it is time to put everything together. The noodles and spice are packaged together using completely automated machinery in factories. This is all done very efficiently. No human hands contact the product once the process begins, so it remains clean and hygienic. The noodles and seasoning are precisely measured and packaged into different packaging materials, which keeps your ramen fresh for months. Step 9. Quality control. The factory must monitor everything during the process. Quality control is essential for guaranteeing that each batch of ramen meets high standards. The noodles are examined to ensure that they are of proper thickness and texture. The seasoning is taste tested to ensure it is perfect, and the packaging is reviewed to ensure it is secure.